Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and a continuing series, What? Why? Where we take a look at some of the weirdest video games that I really love playing, and today we have Mr. Mosquito, a game so weird and odd that it even got its own title wrong, because only female mosquitoes drink blood. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined to want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. And stay after the end of this video because I put the intro to this up after that, and the narration about this game, it kind of feels like it's straight out of a horror movie and you definitely need to hear it in real time. But getting right into the game, Mr. Mosquito is a simple concept. You are Mr. Mosquito. Again, can't drink blood, only female mosquitoes do that, but your entire goal in this game is to draw blood from the residents of the Yamato household. And it is a weird game off the top, but it also becomes a very strange game because some of the imagery that happens later on, but right off the bat, it's just an odd concept for a video game. You're a mosquito that drinks blood, but it gets weirder because there are battle phases. You'll see here that heartbeat meter in the bottom left hand corner got a little too high, and one of the residents of the household has spotted Mr. Mosquito. So we need to actually take part in a battle right now to try to calm them back down. There is a time limit and you can fail it, but you'll see here if you zoom in on that relaxed spot, it puts the person you're trying to drink the blood of back to sleep. I do not know mechanically how that would work. If I get bit by a mosquito, I certainly don't calm down, I get more irritated. But maybe this really is what it's like to be a mosquito. Maybe they've got a rich inner world that we just don't know about. But you'll see here, when you actually do get the chance to draw blood, you have to rotate the analog stick and keep it in that red zone, or else the victim starts to notice what you're doing, because you'll see that pulse is going up there. When it hits that blue zone, you can almost carte blanche drink as much blood as you want, but you still need to be careful to watch that meter, because you'll see here, if you get a little bit too greedy, things can happen to Mr. Mosquito that any mosquito would consider to be a very bad day, because we're almost to that blood tank, but unfortunately he just got flattened and exploded. So you have to be a little careful. I don't know if that's what mosquitoes really think about in real life or not. I'd highly presume it's not, but in the world of Mr. Mosquito, stealth is definitely a mechanic, and you'll see here, we got all our blood, her leg is itchy, and we can move on to the next stage, the living room. There are interactable environments in this game, though. You can distract your victim with things that are around the stage, and you'll see that little red bounding box draw around them if you can change things. Like this TV remote here, if we hit that button, it's going to cause the TV to turn off, and it's going to distract your victim. Sometimes you have to hit at least one of these environmental cues before you'll actually see the box in the game that tells you where you need to draw the blood from, because you can't just get the blood from anywhere. Oh no, Mr. Mosquito is a discerning guy and he needs it from the scalp in this instance, and boy, that comb over is definitely not working. It is not fooling anybody. But you'll see here again, all we do is spin that dial around to draw the blood, and we try to keep it in that blue zone, but you have to watch that heartbeat meter at the bottom. Once that goes into the red, at any point in time, you can and will get swatted and have to start the level over again. And some of these levels take 2 to 3 minutes to actually finish, so if you end up losing right at the last second, you gotta go back. But you'll see again, almost in every level, you get into this battle stage, and the further in the game you go, the more relaxed points there are, because you're going to see he has 3. 1 on his shoulders and 2 on his legs. And it's just weird. It kind of feels like a kaiju battle, like this is Godzilla and you're trying to attack him. But you want to make sure you have a good line to that point, because if you get really close to it but miss, it doesn't work. But the soundtrack is so weird. Listen and I'll be right back.
You're really getting the hang of this. Keep it up.
I don't know what's weirder, the sultry narration of the voice or the kind of jazzy disco music, or this next level right here, stage 4, because we need to get 3 tanks of blood out of our victim, but they're obviously taking a bath right now, and this is not accidental what they're doing here. And I kind of tiptoe around the narration of some parts. It's here for a reason, and that's probably part of the reason why this game is considered so weird, honestly. This reminds me of another arcade game that does a very similar thing called Dancing Eyes. It's a certain type of game that's meant to appeal to a certain type of person, and in this instance they tucked a little bit of that concept into a level such as this, but it's done in a tongue-in-cheek way that's almost funny, and you'll see at the end of the level what I mean by that. But every level has a new component, and these bubbles here, if you pop them when you're flying in, are going to make a noise and they're going to wake her back up. Probably not a very smart idea to fall asleep in a bathtub. I don't think it turns out well for people, so don't do that. But you'll see here that you want to avoid those bubbles, and just because it is foggy, you have to get closer to the person you're trying to draw the blood from to be able to see that bounding box. And then when you start getting the blood, the camera pulls back and basically just highlights something that they want you to see, and you can clearly see it on the screen. And that's what Mr. Mosquito does every once in a while, but it still drives me nuts because male mosquitoes just don't drink blood, and they got that one really wrong. But maybe Mrs. Mosquito didn't sound the same, or maybe it doesn't work in the same way when you see the ending cutscene to this level. And it's slightly unfortunate that this is probably why the game's known for, because it's a very intriguing concept. Back in the PlayStation 2, Dreamcast era, even PlayStation 1 of course, developers made weird small games because they were cheap and they were hoping they did well. And a lot of times they did decently enough to warrant more games in a series. And that's just kind of how it was back then. This kind of feels like a Dreamcast game, kind of looks like a Dreamcast game. It would definitely be really nice on the shelf next to something like Seaman in the very strange and weird game kind of category. It definitely has that face of an uncanny valley sort of look to it. It's not like they look like real humans, but they look close enough to make you feel slightly uncomfortable. But Mr. Mosquito here is going for his 3rd vial of blood, and in pretty much every level there's a hidden 4th vial that you can fill up to get more bonus points, because you can unlock different costumes for Mr. Mosquito and other effects throughout the game. But we have gotten our vial of blood right here, and if we fly away, you're going to see this cutscene. And this is what I mean where this is kind of done tongue-in-cheek, because old Mr. Mosquito here is going to land on the floor and the victims are going to walk by. And Mr. Mosquito's definitely going to see something he likes the look of. He's definitely into it. He's got the hearts in his eyes, and it's so nice. Apparently it caused him to just fall completely over. And it's done in a cartoony enough way that it feels innocent, kind of like an old Looney Tunes episode where the wolf's eyes get big and it basically turn into hearts and come completely out of his skull. But you'll see here in another level, there are pesticides that you need to avoid, because if you fly through that cloud, you're going to have a really bad time. And the game at the beginning even gives you a warning how to appropriately use pesticides in your real life. It's probably one of the strangest warnings I've ever seen in a video game, because honestly, I don't think this was really going to make a lot of people want to go out there and abuse pesticides on mosquitoes. The legal department must just have insisted that they put it in there, or maybe they just put it in because it seemed that weird like the rest of the game. But honestly, Mr. Mosquito is a fun game, and it's like something you've never played before, because there's really many other mosquito-based video games for you to enjoy. So if you're looking for something really strange, unique, and interesting, and an experience that you'll definitely never forget, you can do a lot worse than Mr. Mosquito. But don't forget, the weirdest thing about this game is their narration over the intro, and right after the credits you're going to see that. So stay tuned for it, because the voice just sounds kind of evil. Short of that, leave me a comment down below. I'll have a video on another weird game next week, and I'll have videos throughout the week as well. But I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the home of the Yamada family. It's summer. Do you like summer? Summer drives people crazy, and that makes them commit terrible acts. Take the tiny, harmless mosquito, for example. It doesn't have enough time to do much during its one precious short life. Yet with one swipe, a human can snatch such a priceless life away without a second's thought. I am sure that you may already realize that you are a mosquito, the insect that bites people and makes them feel itchy, the insect that creates a trail of swollen bites. As a mosquito, there is something that you naturally have to do. You have to suck blood. You must suck and store away as much human blood as possible in order to survive the winter and see another spring. However, blood sucking is accompanied with much danger. It may come as a surprise to you, but you're not welcome in the Yamada family home. Why on earth not? Because you make people feel itchy. Bear in mind that they will go to great lengths to protect themselves from you. Nevertheless, please enjoy your summer of blood-sucking.